the Valorant players, they are just soft as shit. Can we stop now with the pretense? And let's talk about how there is a problem at the core of the Valorant scene that is going to stifle it in the long run. Take it from an old man, a granddad who's not had his pills, TM. And that is that if you want to have a thriving esports scene, it is essential to have discourse, discussion, and it needs to be as passionate and as honest as possible. Once you start bullshitting people, once you start phoning it in and faking it, the fans know. Like, put it this way. This is going to sound insane, given everything I've just shown you. But I would rather have a world where you have to deal with the shit that I've just spent an hour, or whatever it is, over an hour, showing you, right? But we get really also super cool, passionate fans who care about the games, and loads of ancillary content, podcasts, YouTube videos, debates, discussions, arguments, trash talk, right? I'd rather that than what Valorant is setting up for itself right now. And this is before, as I said, there's a lot of people over on Valorant right now all crossing their fingers and hoping their sins in CS are all going to be forgotten about and forgiven, and that they're going to be allowed to have careers in a new game and a fresh start. There's a lot of people, some of them, you know, popular. So there are a number of hurdles lined up, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Valve and CS are shit in the bed, and they're going to make it easy for you. You're going to have to start competing with CS before Valve even, you know, I sleep. You know, you're going to have to actually start hurting Valve's business, I think, before they even start trying to address the elephant in the room, right? But before we even get to that point, if a player plays bad, you have to be able to say a player plays bad. Right, I'll explain the mechanics of it before we get into the latest pathetic assessment of the art of commentary from a player who, by the way, can we also like stop pretending that players are the authority on what a broadcast should look like, right? Because half of these players can't even master the fucking game. And that's all they do, and all they have to do, and all they should be concerned about. You are not dealing with the brightest. Very often you're dealing with young people and someone who's coached in sports. Very often there is an educational deficit because they spend so much time being preoccupied with the pursuit that they have chosen and they want to excel at. There's no shame in that. We are humans. We have limitations, right? And in the same way, I'm not going to be doing a fucking 4-minute mile anytime soon. I'm probably, well, I was a specimen in my time. But, you know, let's just imagine I've always been a chud. Because it makes people feel better to think about me that way. You know, I'm not going to be running a 4-minute mile anytime soon. And I wouldn't expect anybody to think I would know anything about that stuff. I'm an expert in my field. My field is a broadcast. You're a player. And they always come out and they always cry and they always whine. But let me explain it to you how it works. When you have a bad game, you're going to be abused no matter what. It's not fair. It's not nice. It's not fun. But the way you make money is you get paid to play. And now, in esports, people are more preoccupied with the fans, the merchandise, the money, the numbers, than they are about excellence. It's nice to win trophies, but it ain't no prerequisite like it used to be. You know, that's why some orgs don't even bother having good teams. They just have popular players, and they're content to suck non-stop and just dine out on past reputation and put the fans through all manner of emotional torture. Right? You know, TSM. By waiver, for instance. That's just how it works. So, when you have a bad game, you're going to get shit no matter what. Because, you know what? The fans watched the game and saw you had a bad game. Now, they might not know everything that went on in that game. They might not understand the context of this, the nuance of that. but they know ultimately we lost the game, you had a bad game, right? Now, because the fans know it, guess what the commentators have to do? They can't lie. Worst thing a commentator can do on a broadcast is lie to the audience and insult their intelligence. Because it creates an unpleasant feeling. It's like a cognitive dissonance. You know, if I watch a player do fresh air shot after fresh air shot after fresh air shot in a football game, and then I'm going, he's having he looks so sharp. You're watching it going, no, he's not. He can't even kick the fucking ball. And you start getting agitated, and you're going to not watch the broadcast because what I'm saying is objectively bullshit, right? It creates an unpleasant cognitive dissonance, and it makes people angry and agitated. And let's say it makes people angry and agitated enough that they don't want to watch the broadcasts anymore. Now, as it happens in esports, no one is ever boycotting a broadcast because, like, a commentator's on it. But that might change in the future, you know? But trust me, when commentary does not align with reality, the fans know and they feel insulted. And the last thing you want is that fan base that we've just established is the fucking reason you're able to have a salary, because it's all a numbers game. The last thing you want is those people maybe thinking, well, this is bollocks, I'm going to go do something else. So you have to understand what's at stake if you're a player, which, of course, because you're a player, you can't, can you? It's all about your fees. Won't someone think of the place? It's like, how many times have I done this now? How many times have I talked about these Valorant guys? Let me also explain another bit of mechanics that's going on. These players are all vying. It's like a viper's nest in Valorant right now. They're all vying over each other, like, yeah, slithering and sliding and blah, 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 blah. All trying to get the best deal for themselves, get themselves on a good org, on a good team, make as much money as possible, because they know what I'm saying is true. All the washed-up cunts who are relevant today are not relevant in Valorant in 2 years. Of course they're not. Bunch of Zoomers are going to they're going to fucking steal your lunch. And they know it, because that is the story of every esport ever. And so, what they're trying to do now is, first of all, cynically remove a record of their failures, and more importantly, leverage a young, impressionable fan base that is too young and too stupid to realise the players they idolise now probably don't even have a pro team in 2 years because they have no sense of perspective. And they're leveraging them. Oh, look, no, my feelings are hurt. Oh, the commentator said a mean thing. Oh. Yeah, you didn't get a single frag and a half, though. Yeah, but I came close, and I was baiting for a teammate. And shut the fuck up. You missed a ton of shots. Shut up. Shut up with your excuses. And so we get to this. Once again, this time, another tragic, washed up bum. An absolute bum. A guy who fucking beyond outstayed his welcome in CSGO. Shinobi. There'll be cunts of you watching this right now who probably don't even know who this guy is. Right? I know who he is. A lot of people know who he is. And so he decided on March 7th to chime in with his unbelievable infinite wisdom, his take on the broadcast. So do tell me, Shinobi_FPS. It's so cringe when the only analysis, and he's done the quotes, hasn't he? So he means it's not really analysis. That's what that means, isn't it? The only analysis a commentator can bring to the cast is talking about a player's performance. I don't even know how to begin to sort of metabolize that as a statement. Apparently, what you're supposed to do as a colour commentator in the moment is not analyse any player's performances and instead, I guess, just say what's happening on the screen. And in fact, if you're a colour commentator, I mean, what can you really do? If you take player performance out of the analysis, and remember, he literally thinks talking about a player performance isn't analysis at all, as evidenced by the fucking air quotes. We're left with talking about situational stuff that happens in the game. We're left talking about the meta and how that can be impacting on stuff. But ultimately, all of that will trickle down to player performance. There's no way you can get through a broadcast without dedicating a significant portion to it about player performance. There's just no way. And anyway, this went out, right? And I won't do that thing where he did a follow-up tweet. And I don't think it adds any valuable context to it. But I know when I chop this up and make it a YouTube video, motherfuckers out there who forgot about Dre, they'll say, oh, you left his other tweet out. So, here we go. I'll put it in for you. It's worth mentioning, I didn't say... Oh, right, so Dust chimed in. Dust Unchained. Is player performance not important? Feels like bad good performances that stick out are absolutely worth mentioning. And he said, it's worth mentioning. I didn't say that anywhere in my tweet or in my follow-up tweets. My point is that if the barrier to entry as a caster is just reading off stats from the scoreboard, then literally anyone could do it. It should not be the only thing that is said. Now, he's made another fatal error here because he obviously doesn't know the first fucking thing about the job. There is something to be said about the way you read stats off a scoreboard. You know, there are some commentators who many people really, really like, who literally just essentially say what is on the screen and just do that. But they do it in such an entertaining and vibrant way, you don't even really notice. And I would even go so far as to say maybe they're the best play-by-play commentators, the ones who can do that. Because, you see, what this guy doesn't understand, because he's an idiot, essentially, is when you're doing a broadcast, you can't just fucking, right, well, anyway, the reason Shinobi didn't get a kill there is because this guy contextually used his ability too soon over there, but then this guy, seeing that, was able to take advantage, and he wasn't able to fall back. And so what's happening is the game's being played. This is how players think. The game's being played, and there's just no play-by-play. Because to cover for their mistakes and to cover for their inability to, like, frag or whatever it is, they want a commentator to spend all day analysing all the minutiae that's happened from rounds ago and just ignore this. There's not enough time, you fucking dickhead. There's no time for that. It's a fast-paced game. I have to fucking say what's happening now and, you know, maybe bring a colour guy in. That's an art form in and of itself, by the way. Finding an actual colour guy that can come in the gaps on a play-by-play. I just interviewed Scrawny for Rivalry the other day. We were talking about this, how him and, like, Launders, you know, they have all these tricks and tips to try and get each other in, because, you know, Launders is a very dry, you know, analytical dude who knows a lot about the game, and Scrawny's the hype man. Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. And anyway, they have this massive fucking, you know, a massive discussion about it, right? And then also, just to add his other little bit he did, it gets repetitive and redundant when the same thing is said over and over. Fair, fine. It goes for positive narratives and negative ones alike. There's plenty of reasons why X team dominated Y team in a game. It's shallow analysis to only emphasize the most obvious reason. Now, I'll also just say something that I know people are going to think is fucking controversial as fuck. But actually, sometimes I just don't want to hear any of that bollocks. I want to, if the game is exciting, I don't want the pace and excitement of that, the peak of the hype, to be dampened by people talking about, oh, did you see that flashbang there? No, you don't even understand. Usually people throw it at a 45-degree angle from that position, but he's adjusted it, done a 35-degree angle, and look where it's landed. It's absolute sex on a stick, you know, and I'm even making it sound more exciting than it actually is. Like, I don't even want that. Just give me the excitement. So I don't think it's 100% necessary. But this is just these fucking players, mate. And what happened? What ended up happening off the back of this? Let me see if I can find the dude that came in. Where was it? Bottom line is, I think one of the casters who've been doing the event that he was alluding to came in and was basically like saying, oh, you know, my bad, sorry. It sucks if your feelings. It's like, fuck me. Why are you even apologizing to these guys? Like, they've just got to get with the fucking program. I'll go on a broadcast and I'll say whatever the fuck I like about you. And you will take that. And that is the arrangement. That is the arrangement. That is what you sign up for when you're a pro player. You play, I watch, I speak. I say things. If you don't like that, this isn't for you. This job ain't for you at all. Plenty of jobs you can do in private. Plenty of things you can do where you don't get scrutiny. I'll say what the fuck I want as a caster about you. The end. And it's not cringe. You know what is cringe? Players going on social media after you've had a tough game and crying about commentators pointing out some of your teammates played like shit. And if I was you, Shinobi, mate, I'd get used to hearing that. I don't know what you think you're doing. I don't know. I don't know how long you think your time is. It's absolute nonsense. And I think about all the stuff that's going on in Valorant. Let me just add this as a fucking point, because I've never committed this to video and it needs to get fucking said. You Valorant pros that are on social media every day digging out commentators, digging out broadcasts, talking about how people are fucking mean to you and all that. Do you know how many of you fucking scum fucking freely associate with people that you know have fixed matches in CS and another esport, and you don't say a fucking thing about it? You don't say a fucking thing about it. And you think you can take some sort of moral fucking high ground and talk about, oh, it's so bad what this commentator's doing. You know what's bad? Match fixing. You know what's bad? Fucking paying people to throw games. And I know some of you guys know. I know you fucking know who these people are. And you're there and you're playing on teams with them and all that. And you know they did it. And they're just waiting on the ESIC report to drop. And not one he has a fucking opinion, do you not? You're fucking cowards. You're fucking cowards. You've basically jumped into Babby's first FPS, right? Because you couldn't hack it in a fucking real game. So you're already weak, right? You've then decided, well, you know, I've got a bunch of kids who are going to fucking just blindly lap up anything I say, because the average age of people who follow fucking Valorant, I'll tell you, is probably about fucking 6 years younger than the average age of people who follow Counter-Strike. And you just feed him a line of this unimportant bullshit, all of it revolving around your delusional fucking narcissism that like a broadcast has to bend to protect your feelings. And yet, not one of you has the fucking moral fortitude or fibre to publicly speak up about the vermin that are in your fucking scene. So fuck you. It was fucking pathetic to begin with. It's fucking annoying now. And don't worry, I've already made my mind up that because I am a disgusting glutton for punishment, and a glutton for alcohol and food as well, evidently, but a glutton for punishment mostly, I will be talking about all of this shit. I will be making content around Valorant. I will be there to call you guys out. And if you think someone like Dust Moret saying you had a bad game is enough to make you fucking sad, you have never felt the fury you will feel if you ever fuck up while I'm watching. So you guys all need a fucking reality check about what this world is like.